Good morning, boys and girls. Hey, today's Thursday, and we are going to start with our morning lesson for language mostly. And we're going to be talking a little bit about verbs, okay? And we've talked about verbs before. We made this cool poster, Vicky Verb. Remember, she was like superhero, and she was able to do anything. That's because verbs are things that we do, okay? Verbs show action. You can sing is a verb. Run is a verb. Jump is a verb. Read is a verb. All of those things that you do are verbs, okay? Now, sometimes we do things right now. Mrs. Schaefer makes a video right now, okay? Those verbs are just plain, or sometimes you have to add an S to them to make them agree with the subject, okay, whoever you're talking about. Sometimes we're going to do things. We haven't done them yet, but we're going to. Mrs. Schaefer's students will return to school. You're not at school yet, but you will. It's coming up. It's in the future, okay? So will return. Those two words together make up your verb, okay? So you have the word will that comes with return to make it happen in the future. Well, sometimes we've already done things and they're over. That means they're in the past, okay? So past tense verbs. Let's see here. Jacob completed his homework. Completed is what he did. And he did it yesterday, so it's over, okay? So sometimes when things have already happened, yesterday, the day before, last week, last year in first grade, whatever it might be, if it's over, a lot of times we're going to add ed to them. Not every time, but most times, okay? So today I have a little, I guess, a presentation, I would call it, for you guys, and it's about verbs that are in the past tense, okay? Meaning they've already happened. So we're going to go through these slides up here and talk about them a little bit. And hopefully you guys can recall this from first grade. I know you probably talked about it in first grade, but you can learn a little bit more about verbs in the past tense, okay? So over here. Ooh, this is red. I feel like it's a little bit dark. Huh. Let me see if I can maybe change the background color. And hopefully it'll show up. So let's see if I can do that. Let's see here. Oh, gosh, I just don't know. Maybe if I select this. No, I'm not having any luck. Oh, they're all red. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's see here. Set background fill. Oh, I may have figured it out. Woo! It's been a long time since Mr. Shaver's done that, so I'll have to do that on each one, but that's okay. We can do it, okay? This is called being flexible. All right, so we have the verb play, okay? Play. Today we play. Tomorrow we will play. Remember I said that there are two words that go together on that one? Will and play. You got to have both of them. Not just play, because if it's play by itself, it looks like it's happening today. But if it's happening next week, we'll play. We will play a baseball game next week. You can't leave out the will or you'll think it's happened today. So got to have both together, so will. The one that we're talking a lot about is yesterday. Yesterday we played, and it has an ed on the end of it. Okay, so you've got the word play right here, and we add ed to the end to make it happen yesterday, day before, last week, whenever, as long as it's in the past. Okay, bear with me while I change the color on every single one of these pages. Okay, let's see here. Background fill. We'll set it to yellow. It's real easy to see. Okay. Today we plant. Okay, maybe you're a farmer. You're going to plant some crops, some corn. Okay. Tomorrow we will plant. That means it hasn't happened yet, but it will. Okay. Both words go together. You need two of them, will and plant. Yesterday, we planted the crops, okay? So you take the word plant, that's your main word or your base word, you add ed to make it happen in the past, okay? Alrighty here. All right, there we go. Today, we eat. Okay, this one isn't exactly as easy as the others, but not too bad, okay? Today, we eat. We eat lunch. Tomorrow, we will eat. Still two words. But yesterday, we didn't eat it. We would not say eated. Sounds kind of like, I like to call it baby talk, because sometimes when you have little babies, um, maybe like Jonah's mom babysits. I know she got to have some little kids there, and you guys probably hear them say eated. Mrs. Stingley, I eated all of my lunch. That's kind of baby talk. You guys are big kids. We don't talk that way, okay? So we don't say eated. We ate. This is one of those times when it doesn't have an ed on it, okay? It doesn't sound right. We say ate. Okay, yesterday we ate. So that's down here at the bottom, regular or irregular. This is irregular. That means it is not the regular add ed. Regular ones, we just add ed. Okay, this one we don't. So let's take a look at our next one. Oh, we got green for some reason. Let me try that yellow. Let me see if I can get that back on yellow. I think I pushed the wrong one. Okay. We're going to add them in on ourselves now. So we've got the word sleep, and we're going to talk about what we do today. Today we sleep. Okay. I'm going to change it up just a little bit. I'm going to say today we wouldn't say today he sleep in his bed. We have to add an S to this one. Today he sleeps. We sleep. He sleeps. Both are right, but you have to make sure that it makes sense with your subject. If you have we, that's more than one person, so you don't need an S. If you have he, maybe I'm talking about Landon, and it's just one kid, sleeps. We need an S, okay? Tomorrow, what's that word that's got to go with it every time? Will. Tomorrow, we will sleep. Okay? All right. Yesterday, we slept. We slept in our own beds. Sounds good, right? It's totally right, isn't it? You guys figured it out. That's not right. We don't say today we slept. That's the baby talk again, okay? This is wrong. Who knows what we would say? Yes. Yesterday we slept. That's an irregular one again, okay? It's not regular by adding ed. We have to change it to slept. Okay, we slept in our beds last night or yesterday. Let's try another one. All right, this is the word run. Okay, today we run in PE. Today, what if I said Jamarcus? Today, Jamarcus run? Today, Jamarcus run? I don't know. I think it sounds better to say today, Jamarcus runs. Okay, still right. We just had to add an S because Jamarcus is just one person. Tomorrow, that word we need to include, will. Tomorrow, we will run a race. Okay? Yesterday, we runned. No, you're right. It's not runned. Not runned at all. Yesterday, we ran. Okay? So that's another irregular one. It's not regular by adding ed. We have to change it a little bit to ran. Okay? Most of the time, though, we will add eds. Talk. Okay? Today, we talk. Maybe I'm talking about, maybe I'm talking about Sienna. Today, Sienna talks. Okay, and I have to add an S to that one. Tomorrow we, here's our word, will talk. Okay? And yesterday we talked about it. This is a normal, regular one. We just add ed. Here's the word talk, and we just add ed to the end of it to make talked. Or we talked about it yesterday. Okay? So that's a regular one. Just add ed. Let's see what else we got. Oh, that's it. So hopefully this makes a little bit more sense to you. And the way that helps me remember it is kind of like baby talk. So if you're not sure if you should add ed to it and listen. Okay? If I said run and I listen to that, Blake run a race. I don't think that sounds very good. Lainey ran a race. That sounds a lot better. Okay? So sometimes you just got to listen to it to see if it's regular or irregular. Okay? Almost always when you have future tense, you're going to use the word will with it. Okay? Got to add will, and that shows that it's going to happen tomorrow, the next day, whenever. Okay? So this is about present and past tense verbs. Okay? Alrighty. I do have a story for you. I'm going to run over here and grab my book. I'll be right back. This story, this is called A Turkey for Thanksgiving. Okay? I'm not sure if you have read this last year or not. Maybe, maybe not. But it's a pretty good one. So I'm going to share it with you. And here's the cover of it. Love the pictures in this story too. So, A Turkey for Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving morning. Mr. Moose helped Mrs. Moose set the Thanksgiving table. Sheep will sit here. He likes a chair that's straight up and down, Mr. Moose said. Rabbit, here. Porcupine, here. Mr. and Mrs. Goat, here. He smiled at his wife. Isn't it nice to have friends to share Thanksgiving? So they're getting the table all set up. They're picking the different types of chairs for the different guests that they're going to have. Sounds like they're going to have a lot of guests from the forest. Mrs. Moose set 2 paper pilgrims, one at each end of the table. She placed the paper turkey with its great fan of a tail between 2 candles and stood back. They look great, my dear, Mr. Moose said. Mrs. Moose sighed. Yes, but I wish we had a real turkey. Everyone always has a turkey for Thanksgiving. Everyone but us. Mr. Moose nuzzled Mrs. Moose's head. Well, that just won't do. I will go this minute and find you a turkey for Thanksgiving. Okay, so they're at the table. She's got this little turkey out in the center of the table, make it look nice. But her heart really says, I want a real turkey. Mr. Moose put on his cap and went out. Mist wandered through the bare trees. The cold made his nose water. Rabbit poked his head from his rabbit hole. Mr. Moose! Is it dinner time? Not quite yet. Mrs. Moose wants a turkey, and I'm off to find one. Rabbit joined him in 3 quick hops. I'll come too. Moose's warm breath hung white in front of him. Snow crunched under his hooves and made little holes that Rabbit jumped over. I see the goats, Rabbit said. Mr. Goat raised his head and spat out of the tin can he was chewing. Is it dinner time? He called. Not till I find a turkey, Mr. Moose said. We saw one down by the river, Mrs. Goat told him. And Mr. Goat added, it was a fat one. There's the goat's house. The goat slipped down from the porch. We'll show you. Sheep was further up the hillside looking round as a fur ball in his winter coat. Is it dinner time, he bellowed. First, I have to find a turkey, Mr. Moose bellowed back. There's a turkey nest on the riverbank, Sheep called. Wait for me. So they're all going out together. These are all the people that they're having at their house as their guests, and they're setting out to find a turkey. Do you guys have turkey at Thanksgiving? I do. The earth smelled of ice and moss as they crunched along. Above them a crow hung, black as a puff of wood smoke. Porcupine was hiding in the underbrush. "It's you," he said, and he put his quills down. "We're off to get a turkey for Mrs. Moose," Mr. Moose explained. "Do you want to come?" "I'm slow," Porcupine said. "Pick me up on your way back." "Who'd want to pick you up?" Sheep asked. And he laughed with the bleat of a laugh. "I'll wait," Porcupine told Mr. Moose. Nobody wants to pick up a porcupine. They didn't mean actually pick him up. They just meant like, get him on the way back. They saw Turkey's nest right away, and Turkey himself peering out over the top of it. "Turkey! Turkey!" Mr. Moose called in his sweetest voice. Ah! Turkey blundered from his nest and ran. Mr. Moose lumbered after him. "Turkey, don't run! We just want you for Thanksgiving dinner!" And Turkey ran faster. Here's the turkey. He's got his head sticking out above the grass. He was like, "Oh," if you look at him, he's kind of like, "Oh dear, what do I do?" And if you look at his signs, it says, "Do not disturb. Come back after Thanksgiving." And this one says, "No turkey here." He doesn't want anyone to find him. Mr. Moose saw the red and blue sheen of Turkey's neck. Turkey's tail brushed combs of snow behind him as he tried to fly. "He's too fat," Mr. Goat said. Turkey's legs bent in the middle as he fell. Mr. Moose put a booted hoof on his head and smiled his great toothy smile. "I hope you don't have other plans for Thanksgiving, Turkey." Look at that turkey. He helped Turkey up. "My wife won't mind that you're too fat," he said. "Let's go. It's getting close to dinner time." They marched Turkey in the front. "I'm sorry about this, for I can see you don't really want to come," Mr. Moose said. "But I must insist. A promise is a promise." So he promised Mrs. Moose he would find her a turkey. And he did. There was a wreath of dried fruit on the Moose's door. Inside, the house was filled with Thanksgiving smells. Mr. Moose hid Turkey behind him. "Look who I brought, Mrs. Moose," he said. "Sheep, the goats, rabbit, and porcupine. And ta-da! He pushed Turkey around in front of him. "For you, a turkey for Thanksgiving." Mrs. Moose clapped her hoofs. "Oh, I'm happy to have you, Turkey." "Thank you, Mr. Moose. Now everything is perfect." Look at that table there. "Shall we sit?" Sheep asked, headed for the straight up and down chair. "Let's," Mrs. Moose pointed. "Rabbit here, Porcupine here, Mr. and Mrs. Goat here, and look, I brought a chair from the other room in hopes of a turkey." "A chair?" Turkey stammered. "Right next to me," Mrs. Moose said. "Light the candles, Mr. Moose." What'd she bring for the turkey? A chair? I don't set my turkey on a chair. I usually set my turkey on a platter, big plate. There were bowls full of acorns and alfalfa sprouts, dried since summer. There was willow bark and cured grasses and wild parsley. There were pressed leaves, thin and pale as new ice on a pond. "I hope you find something here to your liking, Mr. Turkey," Mrs. Moose said. "I wasn't really sure of your taste." "You are so kind to worry about my taste," Turkey said. "I thought you'd be worrying about how I taste." Did she want to eat the turkey for Thanksgiving? She wanted to have him join them for Thanksgiving, not eat him. "Heavens, no!" Mrs. Moose smiled, his big, toothy smile, and he filled everyone's cup with cold spring water. "It's so nice to have friends around the table at Thanksgiving." Turkey's wattles wobbled. "It's even nicer to be at your table and not on it. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody!" Yes, normally I don't have a turkey sitting at my table. My turkey's usually on the table. But in this story, I'm going to call it a fantasy because we have talking animals. They all went out on a hunt after a turkey and they all talk to each other. They're wearing clothes, they're sitting at a table, they're doing everything like a human would do. So this is a fantasy story. So in this fantasy story, they have all these different animals, but they never had a turkey. So they didn't want to eat the turkey, they wanted the turkey as a guest for Thanksgiving. Okay? I will put this quiz number. It is an AR book if you want to take a quiz on it. I will put the quiz number on the Canvas page so you guys can take a quiz over it. Just type it in the AR website, the number, and the quiz will come up and you can take it. Go back and rewatch the video again if you want to hear the story one more time. And I will see you later.